Yeah, for the underdogs, I'm an underdog. I've been through it all, I can never fall. You know I stand tall, I be on the road. When I'm speaking through the mic, I protect my soul. I got the energy, I peep my enemies. I know they sick how far we came, I got the remedy. I hope the message that I'm spitting really speak to you. If you got it out the mud, what would it be to you?
What's good, you guys? Welcome back to season 2 of For The Underdogs podcast. I'm so excited to be back. I feel like it's been a couple months since I recorded anything. And, you know, within those couple months, I've obviously missed this process of speaking to you guys and, you know, sharing things with you guys. But I'm excited to be back. And I think that you guys will be pleased with this upcoming season because we definitely have a lot in store. Yeah, since the finale of season 1, I feel like I've been taking on a lot of opportunities. You know, everyone knows that a passion of mine has always been football. And, you know, within that has come opportunities post-career for me to explore coaching. So I was obviously spending some time with the Rams and seeing what that looked like as a piece of my life. And it was something that I enjoyed, obviously, because I played football my whole life. But, you know, I did learn a lot of things about myself within that process of coaching. And I think one of the big takeaways is that when you are in a position of serving other people, you know, being a coach, serving a player, is a lot of times within that you kind of, and it's a good thing in my eyes, you become selfless in a sense of like not being so consumed with what's going on within yourself, but how can I help serve these players or serve these men to be the best that they can be in their sport. So that was a good thing about it. Like I found myself really finding joy in helping guys become better, or what can I do behind the scenes to, you know, that may not be given the most compliments in front of the staff, but what can I do behind the scenes that'll help someone be better at their craft? That's what I enjoyed about the process. And then outside of that, like, I feel like I've been so creative since shooting the last episode of this podcast. Like, you know, my creative wheels were turning from a standpoint of, you know, hobbies, like being into music, which we'll talk about, but just exploring merchandise, like creating this hat that we have on and other pieces that we can like further better the podcast. That's been my main focus since shooting my last episode. Taking breaks for me is something that's important. Like, I've said it before, like I feel recharged right now. I feel charged up, like, and I don't know, you know, where that came from, but I kind of know within myself when I'm ready to kind of press the pedal. Like, there will be times where I do feel like I need to give myself a break, take a step back because of just that internal clock within my body of telling me like, it's time to slow down. And that's something that has grown over the past, you know, couple of years since retiring, is being able to feel that internal clock of when I need to give myself the grace to rest, because I don't always do that. If you know me, you know music has always been something that I'm passionate about, whether it's creating music, listening to music, like just I feel like music has so many different, it can take you back to times where you were happy or times of, you know, sadness, whatever the case may be. And within that, I chose to create a new intro for the podcast, which you guys will hear, obviously, but it's been a passion of mine. And it was the first time that I recorded something. I probably have over 10, 15, 25 songs. Like, I don't know where the number is, but it was the first time that I recorded something that I was willing to put out for the public to hear. And that being said, I kind of processed it with my therapist as to why I felt so confident in being able to share this song. Yeah, so I want to share with you guys what she told me about why I felt so confident with the song. And I wrote it down because it was super important. And she said, all you did was lean into your creativity and gave yourself permission to not judge the outcome of it. And that was powerful for me. I think, when we give ourselves the freedom to not judge our creativity, just allow things to flow, it allows us to be imperfect and be okay with it, and so within that is what you guys will hear with the new intro. And I'm super proud of it. I think that it fits the podcast perfectly. It was the first time that, so many times I've gone to record a song and the process has taken me longer. This time I didn't have anything written down for it. It just I chopped it up piece by piece and spoke authentically to what I experienced and what I feel this platform needed. So super proud of the way it came out. And I think that you guys will enjoy it when you get a chance to hear it. Yeah. So coming up this season, it'll be a lot of conversations centered around different topics. I will have some new guests, and I may have some of the old guests from the last season. And that's just to kind of further the conversation of where we started in the first season. We'll address topics that I feel like everyone has dealt with over the course of their life. Maybe it's centered around love or betrayal, trust, respect, things that I feel like we all go through. And it's important to build this community of For The Underdogs. A big thing for me I'm going to call it off season because we weren't shooting, episodes during the season. But a big thing for me this off season was kind of figuring out what direction I wanted the podcast to go. And, through obviously brainstorming with, myself, my wife, and everyone that helps create this platform, it was about sharing underdog stories, normalizing underdog stories, because I feel like we all have one, and then growing from it. Those are three big things that I want to, create this community with For The Underdogs. So I'm super excited for this season because I think that the conversations will be more in depth. I'm much more comfortable shooting now. I don't have that nervousness in my stomach when I get in front of the camera. So I think it's important that you guys get to know me more as well, me being able to share my experiences and kind of give you guys a glimpse of what I've gone through, over the course of my career and life, and just growing from that. I'm constantly trying to grow and better myself. So I think that you guys will feel that throughout this season of this season of the podcast, and I'm excited for that. Well, I know for a fact a lot of people have resonated with the podcast, and what's so interesting is it's not a certain age group. It's like, you got kids all the way up to, I don't want to call them senior citizens, but they are senior citizens. So people that are, 55, 65, like resonating with these episodes of different guests, as well as, the ones that I've shot with myself. And what's been dope is hearing their responses as far as like, this is something that I went through in my own way. And I took from your episode advice on how I can handle it or how I can move past it. Or a lot of men have contacted me and have been like, it's so dope that you're speaking on these topics that take vulnerability, because a lot of men won't put themselves out there like that. And I think that gives me that makes me feel the responsibility to keep speaking on these topics that I want to talk about. You know, I said early on within the first season of the podcast was like, I felt called to talk about more than just sports. Like, I felt like I needed to speak on the mind and, you know, the self-development of us as men. And I think something that's important is this next season, I will have much more female guests because I do want to tap into that crowd as well, because I think there's so much knowledge to be said about their experience and how they can help us in our experience as well. So yeah, the first season, the response was great. It was everything that I kind of wanted it to be from a standpoint of like men gravitating towards it and feeling like they weren't alone in their self-development journey or their mental health journey. And that's all I could ask for at the end of the day. For me, when I think about season 2 and when I think about the goal of season 2, is like, I want people to obviously get to know me more. I think within that, there's so many experiences that I've had over my lifetime that I didn't know people resonate with. And it's like I said earlier, like sharing that experience, but also growing from it. Like, I hope people can grow with this podcast each season. And I know the topics are heavy. Like, you know, it won't always be heavy. Like, there's going to be some fucking lightheartedness in it. But like, there's nobody really doing it like that. And that's what I feel that responsibility to help people normalize that we all go through these experiences, that we can share them and it be okay, you know, and still grow from it. So yeah, I hope people just grow with the podcast. I hope that, you know, within your inner circles, you're able to bring up these conversations that maybe you heard on the episode. And, you know, maybe your friend group, you've noticed that your friend group needs to talk about these things and you're the person that feels inclined to speak about it. Like, I hope that you get that from this, because I feel like the conversations need to be had. You know, it's one thing to listen and internalize within your own mind, grow from it. But when you start to branch out to your friends and they branch out to their friends, like, I feel like that's when we can normalize and grow from these conversations. And I hope that you get something from it in that perspective. Yeah, a year from now, I think I've shared a little bit about what my hopes are for the podcast. Obviously, I want the podcast to grow. For me, I want to speak to people. I want to speak to thousands of people. Like, I want to be on a stage speaking to people about my experience. I had a conversation a few months ago with someone and they were telling me that I was kind of looking at my whole career the wrong way. Because there was at one point I was ashamed of being on the practice squad and, you know, being cut this many times. And obviously I find my way later on in my career, but like, they were telling me your biggest strength is the times where you felt the weakest, and to share that piece of your story. And that to me is what I envision for this whole thing, is like being on stage, talking to thousands of people that can get something from my story, you know, going around different speaking engagements and just having opportunities to let my guard down and speak to people about my experience. That's the biggest thing for me. So, you know, within a year from now, we'll be obviously still shooting podcasts, but I'm hoping from the perspective of branching out into what I really want to do, and that's speak to groups of people about their experiences and how I can help them throughout those, you know, conversations. I hope that you guys are excited as I am for season 2 of For The Underdogs. Remember, we dropped this merch. It's fortheunderdogspodcast.com. And, you know, it's a clean hat. So you guys grab it when you get a chance and stay tuned because season 2 is dropping soon. And I do want to leave you with this quote that I think is super powerful. Your mindset is the foundation of your success. What we focus on grows. You have to have the belief that you can turn obstacles into opportunities. So that's just something that I felt like I needed to say because I feel like that's what this platform is about, turning obstacles into opportunities. You guys stay tuned for season 2 of For The Underdogs. You're taking, I don't know if these are recording right now, but like, okay, well, then fuck it. Oh, welcome back. What do we think about that? Yeah. And she said something that was really important that I think I want to, I know I want to share. And it was hold on, forgot. All right. Wait, look at her camera. Look at her or the camera.
I had fears, I had doubts, I know it's hard to manage. If I could tell you one thing, it's just accept the challenge. We was built for this and now they listen across the planet. Looking back